Hello friends, welcome back to Story Time. Today the story is about Calvin Coconut by Graham Salisbury. Calvin Coconut, hero of Hawaii. Chapter 1, The Buzz. It was going to be the most famous party our street had ever seen. In 2 days, my sister Darcy was turning 7, and the buzz was that the whole neighborhood would be showing up, invited or not. The coconuts were building a slippery slide. Oh man, I mumbled, squinting up at the sun. Can it get any hotter? I would been trying to think of the perfect birthday present for Darcy. Something good, something that would really mean something. But it was too hard to think, and I was coming up blank. Julio humped. Where are those clouds when you need them? Oh, just a breeze, Maya said. We were sitting on the grass in my front yard. Me, my friends, Julio, Reyes, Billy Wolf, and Maya Medeiros, and my black and white dog, Streak. At the bottom of our sloping lawn, a slow-moving river sparkled in the sun. It was the color of rust and almost as wide as of a football field. Darcy and Carlos, Julio's 5-year-old brother, were poking around in the swamp grass looking for toads. Carlos had followed Julio down to my house on a pair of homemade tin can stilts. I popped up on my elbow. Hey, anyone want to go swimming in the river? Julio made a face. That stinky water? I shrugged. Maya shook her head. The bottom is mucky. Who wants to step in that? They were right. It was smelly and mucky. Still, you could cool off in it. Looks fine to me, Willie said. He was new to Kylo. His family had just moved to the islands from California. Go, Julio said. Jump in, but don't swallow it. Willie frowned. We called it a river, but it really was not. It was a drainage canal that carried runoff from the lowlands out to the ocean. I took my skiff out on it all the time, a rowboat that sat in the swamp grass below us. I got Darcy to go with me sometimes, but she didn't like being out on the water. She was not a good swimmer. So, when's Ledward coming? Willie asked. Soon. Mom was still at work, but her boyfriend Ledward was coming over to build the slippery slide for Darcy's party. A monster slippery slide that would start with a high ramp at the top of our yard and run all the way down to the river. Carlos stopped searching for toads and looked up at us. The tin can stilts were slung around his neck, 2 big cans with strings on them. He took them off and stepped up onto them, then clomped up the slope. Julio groaned and closed his eyes. His brothers drove him crazy. He had 4, all younger than him. Wanna hear a song? Carlos said, coming over to us. Willie laughed. I squinted up to Carlos. Not really. Go ahead, Carlos, Maya said. You can sing a song to me. My mom gave me a nickel. She said go buy a nickel. I did not buy a nickel. Come on, Carlos, I pleaded. Go sing it to the toads. I bought some bubble gum, a chuka chuka bubble gum, a chuka chuka bubble gum, a chew. I covered my ears. Where was Ledward? My mom gave me a dime. She said to go buy Julio. Wake up, I shouted. Carlos just wet his pants. Julio peeked open an eye. Carlos stopped singing and looked down. Peace at last, I said. Willie cracked up. Maya glared at me. What? I said. You didn't have to embarrass me. Him. Carlos' eyes filled with tears. Maya slapped my arm. Look what you did. Julia went back to sleep. Hey, 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 I said, sitting up. Come on, Carlos. I was only joking. Carlos pulled up on the strings that held the tin candles to his feet. My mom gave me a. He couldn't go on. You are such a meanie, Calvin. Maya got up and put her arm around Carlos. She kicked Julio's foot. Don't you care about your brother? What brother? Julio said, his eyes closed. I don't have a brother. I sighed and got up. Come on, Carlos, I didn't mean it. Look, I was kidding. You didn't wet your pants, and anyway, how was about you teach me to walk on those stilts? Carlos stared at the grass. Come on, I never learned how. Carlos stepped off the cans and held them up by their strings. Cool, I said, taking them. Calvin, someone screeched from the garage. I glanced over my shoulder. Stella, holding up the dog poop shovel. Chapter 2. Outstanding. Stella was from Texas and lived with us as mom's helper. She was in the 10th grade at Kylo High School. She was not just bossy, she invented bossy. What? I said, stepping up on the tin can stills. Your mom called and said to clean up the yard for the party. So clean it. You stump, not me. I squinted at her. I hated when she called me stump. Justice for the meanie, Maya said. Stella was not leaving until I took the shovel. Let's go, she snapped. I don't have all day. This is all your fault, I said to Streak. Streak tilted her head. Hey, Carlos, you want to help me? Carlos grinned. Go on, Carlos, Julio said. His eyes still closed. I have done it before and it's really fun. Maya grabbed Carlos' shirt. Oh no, you don't. Carlos, don't listen to these fools. I shrugged. Still on Carlos' tin can stilts. I clomped over to get the shovel. Stella eyed me. Are you some kind of a circus freak? Oh, I know. You just needed help getting up to normal height. She snickered at her own joke. So funny, I forgot to laugh. She grinned, holding out the shovel. Get it all, Stump. We don't need some kid stepping in something. Stop calling me Stump. Well, you are short, aren't you? Stop! I mean it. And if I don't? I snatched the shovel out of her hand just as Ledward's jeep pulled up. He honked. Scooped the poop. Stella crackled, then rode her broom back into the house. Darcy, I called. Ledward's here. Julia and Willie scrambled to their feet. Darcy ran up from the river. Yay, yay, yay. Ledward got out. He was half Hawaiian, half Filipino, and tall as a telephone pole. He looked down to us. Is this my construction crew? Yeah, we all said. I peeked into the jeep. The lumber was new. It smelled good. Can we help you, Ledward? Sure, can. You going to work in those boots? I looked down at the tin can stills. You like them? Used to have a pair myself. We were as excited as ants in the kitchen. Together, we took lumber, blue tarps, shakes, extra garden hose, and Ledward's toolbox out onto the grass. Ledward built the takeoff tower first. It was about 6 feet high. Then he made a ramp and tacked plastic tarps down over the wood. Below that, he stacked more tarps into the grass and ran the slide all the way down to the water. But Darcy made him shorten it. She didn't want the slide to end in the river, where the current could take you away. Oh, I said, this is outstanding. Later, I shoveled up all the dog poop, but I didn't flip into the bushes like I usually did. I dumped it in the weeds under Stella's bedroom window, which she always left open for fresh air. By the time Mom got back from work, the slide was done and everyone but Ledward had gone home. Darcy grabbed Mom's hand the second she got out of the car. Come see, come see. Wow, Mom said, hooking her arm in Ledward's. The kids are going to have so much fun. Ledward glanced at the sky. There might be a problem. Radio said a storm is coming. What's a little rain? They are going to get wet anyway. Might be more than just a little rain. Darcy bounced on her toes, as excited as I would ever seen her. Nothing can stop my party. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Chapter 3. Crumbling like sand. The next morning, Saturday, Ludward came back over. He grabbed the morning paper off our driveway and headed into the house. Darcy, Mom, Stella, and I were in the living room looking out the window at the wild grey clouds. Tomorrow was party day and it was not looking good. Ledward tapped the newspaper headline as he eased the screen door closed behind him. Massive tropical storm approaches islands, it said. Looks like a big one. Darcy crossed her arms. We are still going to have the party. It's only going to rain, that's all. Ledward looked out the window and shook his head. I don't know, Darcy girl. It does look threatening, Mom said. Ledward nodded. Thought I would come tie down that ramp and get all the tarp up and into the garage. It could get windy. Darcy's careful plans were crumbling like sand in the surf. 2 friends had already called saying they couldn't come because their parents were worried. But the storm was not here yet. Mom hugged Darcy close. We still had today. Darcy, I said. At least we can do that. Today, Stella and her big, scary-looking 12th grade boyfriend, Clarence, were taking me and Darcy to the Beardo Inn temple as Stella's present to Darcy. The temple was Darcy's #1 favorite place to go. You could feed wild birds right out of your hand, and Darcy loved birds. They had a giant gong there too, which was my favorite part. Ledward studied the darkening sky. Better get going soon. My guess is maybe 2-3 o'clock this thing will hit. I looked up at him. But we are still going to have the party, right? Sometime. Ledward clapped a hand on my shoulder. Sure, but not this weekend. Looks alike. Anyways, I should take care of that tarp and go home. Stay with my dogs. They get kind of antsy when the wind comes. Ledward lived up in the jungle. He had a small banana farm, a hairy black pig, and 4 spooky hunting dogs. Stella looked disappointed as she gazed out the window. She would spend a lot of time helping Darcy with the invitations, and tomorrow morning she was going to make birthday cupcakes. She had all the stuff ready in the kitchen. Mom crouched and looked into Darcy's eyes. It looks like we are going to have to postpone your party until next weekend, Darcy. I will call the parents. I'm sorry, sweetie. I will still make the cupcakes, Stella said. We will do a practice batch and test them out. It's fun to bake on a rainy day. Ledward nudged Darcy. Gotta go. But don't worry, I will still cook for your party whenever it is. What you like, cow brains or pig guts? Stella and Darcy made faces at each other. Ew. Ledward winked. I will make some burgers too. Lucky for us, Ledward was the best barbecue cooker in the world. He and Mom headed out to stake down the ramp and bring in the tarps. The slippery slide had been my idea and I couldn't wait to try it. My dad used to come up with ideas too, like our last name. He was a singer who gave himself a singer's name, Little Johnny Coconut. He liked it so much he made it legal for the whole family. Now we were all coconuts. It was funny for a while. But Dad lived in Las Vegas now with a new wife, Marisa. I pushed that thought away. A gust of wind rattled the house as Mom and Ledward put the tarps in the garage. Ledward drove off and Mom came back inside. Boy, you can really feel the wind picking up? That's how it was back home in Texas, Stella said. You always knew when bad weather was coming. Stella's mom was my mom's best friend from high school. She would marry a Marine and move to a mainland, where Stella was born. But now Stella and her mom couldn't get along, so Stella had come to live with us for a while. She was a pain most of the time, but when her boyfriend Clarence came over, she almost turned into a nice person. She even pulled out his fake laugh just for him. Ha 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 ho 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 ho. Maybe you and Clarence should take the kids to the temple another day, Stella. No, Darcy said. You said we could go, Mom. I know, Darcy, but Clarence's car pulled up outside. He's here, I said. Come on, Darcy. Stella grabbed her hooded sweatshirt. Oh, all right, Mom said, giving me some money. Spend this wisely and you come right home if the weather gets worse. You hear? Don't worry, Stella said. Who wants to be out in a storm? I do, I thought. Mom looked at me. You do whatever Stella says. Understand? Sure, Mom. Stella looked at me like, are you being sarcastic? Yup, I said. I will do what Clarence says. Thanks for watching the video. Continue my next chapters in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.